Okay, back again to blend that fact that tax collectors ought to pay tax. They ought to remit their tribute to the government. The reason is this. Some times ago, we uploaded a video that tax collectors are making merchandise of the world. Because apostles of old did not collect any tithe. Peter, John, Epaphroditus, Onesimus, Timothy, Timotheus, Bartholomew, Matthew, Luke, all the apostles of old we mentioned and those we couldn't mention about them. There is no trace of anywhere in the scripture they use church as business. Where they collected tithe to enrich themselves, to buy jet, to build cathedral, to use convoy. You are making merchandise of the world as tithe collector. Based on that fact, you ought to pay tribute to government. You ought to give government task. But for the fact that government is giving you that grace does not mean that you are not entitled of paying task to the government. So we are seeing that the reason why we see tithe collectors ought to pay tax because any business you do, making money from the masses, making money from the people, collecting money from the people, accumulating money in the bank, for the sake of that establishment, you ought to pay tax. Because church today is like a personal business. It's like a tithe. It's like a personal business. It's like a company. The way company pay tax to government is the way church ought also to pay tax to government. Because Peter did not own church. Paul did not own church to make it as a business. Based on that fact, they couldn't pay tax to government. That is why they did not pay any tax to government. But Christ was referring to anybody that used, that makes money from any angle. You make money from church, you make money from your business, and church demand and government demand for tax. You ought to pay tax to government. Any religious sector that is using the religious to make money, that are using people to make money, ought to pay tax to government. So if you're a tithe collector and they are not remitting tax to government, you are robbing the government. Although they give you the grace, they are not collecting money. They are not collecting the tax on the basis that they are afraid of God. They fear God. They fear God you think you are serving, but you are indirectly using the church as business. You build schools, you keep it at an exorbitant rate, yet you are not paying tax to government. You have every other establishment in the name of church. You are making money, and the less privileged and the less privileged cannot afford it. You are making money for yourself. You are not paying tax to government. You are robbing government. You ought to pay tax. Since you want to make money, you need to pay tax. Because apostles of old, they did not use church to make money. They did not even own church. None of them own church. They planted churches and they left. They handed over. They don't use it for business. So if you are using church for business, you ought to pay tax. That is the reason why we say tithe collectors ought to pay tax. Subsequent videos, we shall analyze further. And if you have any comment, if you have any doubt, call on our attention. Based on our comment section, we shall reply you. Remain blessed.